Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dear James, and together with the unseen, Spirit Source and Symphony, we look at current energies, we look at the intuitive insights and wisdom coming from the unseen, and we go as guided, and we come together and we gather around the globe to harness the power of the collective, to harness the power of this unseen wisdom. And so, very, very excited to be back here with you all each week, every Wednesday. And I just wanted to start off with a little bit of a recap on, especially for this month of March, because it is such a pivotal, powerful, transformative moment in time, and really just leave off in time moment. And we started this on March 1st. The theme was Beauty and the Beast, a global phenomenon, and talking about this thing that will be apparent to all. And then we moved forward to 3-8, and it's the Wanderer. Home is where the heart is, and it's to remember that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're experiencing, home is where the heart is. It's always with us. March 15th, Deliverance. Imagine all the people, and the beauty of this about us imagining our deliverance, a different way of being. And then we come to today, 322, and 22, the most powerful number. It's a master number. It's the most powerful number. And it has this thing to do with Mary Magdalene, arrival, and this blast off. And so, and you'll see how the astrological energies, and especially again this month and these last 14 days, 15 days, are exactly this. So bear in mind with us as we are moving forward. Say hello in the comments. Let me know you're there from around the globe. And also comment and ask your questions and share your comments throughout the broadcast. We will incorporate them as we always do. Because it's that beautiful unseen, the master weaver and the golden threads and the tapestry. Olivia, so wonderful to have you here. I know after so many years, I saw your question about the time, so just wonderful to have you here. Ayan as well from France, and Endless Essences, good morning. This is indeed a powerful 22 day, and hoping, and as Ayan is, wishing everybody well. So let's get to it, because these energies, and I'm going to start off with the main energies, and then I'm going to, I'm going to backtrack. They told me where to start. See, you got to listen. You got to go as guided. So even though you think you're going one way, the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, they guide you another. So I just want to bring this up. Here on the screen is an image. It's two images of Mary Magdalene. And the reason I am currently in the Agora Hills, Malibu area, and I'm sitting at the base of a mountain. I'm going to bring this image up really quickly. This is the view outside of my hotel window. And as you can see, I'm right at the base of this mountain. And the importance of this is what the local name of the mountain is. And the local name of this mountain is called Lady Face Mountain. It's also known as the Lady Face Ridge, the Lady Face Crest, and the Lady Face Trail. But the instant I heard Lady Face, I instantly knew it had to do with Mary Magdalene. And there's this, and remember, the Lady Jacqueline and I, good morning, Colleen. Remember, back on November 17th of 2021, when the Lady Jacqueline and I began Weekly Wisdom and Insights, it was about opening to the divine feminine. That was the theme of the inaugural show, opening to the divine feminine. This is all about now the arrival of. So it's no longer this opening. Yes, we continue to open, and we continue to unfold, we continue to go as guided, we continue to flower. However, there's a great importance here that she is at the forefront of this change, this moment. And what was really interesting about this, so this opening to the divine feminine and now the arrival. And it's kind of a lore about why the mountain, the local mountain here, is named Ladyface. Seen from an aerial view, there is the prominence of a feminine face in the mountain, in the ridgeline. Um, it's also referred to, though, and this was very interesting, as it's referred to as the sleeping maiden. And so you can think of that in terms of like Sleeping Beauty, um, the sleeping maiden. This the Beauty and the Beast has a similar story where, in essence, love, the purity of love, the essence of love, restores us, brings us back to life, ignites within us in a way that we haven't had in some time, or that all could be lost without it. And that's what's so amazing about this lady face mountain, this sleeping maiden. Now apply that to the divine feminine. Apply that to the history of the great mother, of the divine feminine in these 2000 plus years, and how, in a sense, she has been a sleeping maiden, not out of, um, not necessarily out of her own will or accord. Um, However, we were Piscean, patriarchal rule, which was governed by the masculine. And so now we are moving in and have moved into the Aquarian age, matriarchal. You've been hearing me speak about that a lot, the unseen speaking to it. So this is the arrival of. And tomorrow, Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time since 1777. And that point was that the French Revolution, the American Revolution, really that center of America being founded and the Declaration of Independence being ratified. But you can see the epicness of that moment. Well, here we are again. Here we come again. And here's Mary Magdalene, the divine, representing the divine feminine, and very much and look how she was literally maligned for centuries, millennia, maligned. And just, I believe it was in 2009 or 16, um, the Pope comes out and refers to her as the apostle to the apostles. This, I mean, talk about a massive restructuring, realigning, a, a recognition of her true and rightful place. Now apply that to the divine feminine. Apply that to all of the women, the mothers, the sisters, the aunts, the cousins, the friends, the women in our world, the women in our lives, and how it's the arrival of and this moment of that at the forefront of change, the forefront of the way forward. And for all the men listening, I'm here, I'm hello. I say this from the perspective of, yes, when the pendulum swings, it can swing too far. Yes, okay. However, it's all about balance, and it's all about, so for the men listening and for the women, it's all about coming into harmony, coming into balance. Where the divine masculine has been too strong, too heavy-handed, too oppressive, suppressive, where the divine feminine has been too weak. It's gonna shift, it's gonna recalibrate itself, just like the church did and religion did, a seismic shift in her recognition, the recognition of her presence, of her being the apostle to the apostles, that she was indeed to a to a to a label favored, and that and favored meaning entrusted. She had something, and all the divine feminine, all of us. There's a reason the divine feminine, the feminine, nurtures and raises and comforts and cares for. There's a reason. And for the divine masculine, yet we absolutely need that depth of character and care. It's important, it's vital. Without it, wars and oppression and suppression and a lot of shadow. And yet we need the strength too, right? We need the divine, we need a healthy divine masculine, we need a healthy divine feminine. And the point of this, the moral of this, the point of this is that this arrival, it's no longer the return, it's the arrival of the divine feminine. Mary Magdalene is at the forefront of that, ushering that in. And rightfully so. I mean, again, look at her story and then look at the recognition that she is finally being seen for her rightful contribution, her rightful place. Right there. Harmony, balance, equality. And what does that do? Well, it's liberation, it's freedom, it sets us free. It's that beautiful saying, the truth will set you free. Well, that's where we are. So that's where we're starting. Let me jump to the main energies just so we can see them. Today is March 22nd, 2023. What you'll really notice here, so the month 3, difficult beginnings, persevere. So we are coming into this. You can see on the world stage, the time, the arc of destiny is forward. And you can see how the old order of things cleaves. They do not want to give up power, control. They've had it for 2,000 plus years. They don't want that to happen. And there's fear involved because it's not the beast they know. What's on the other side of this knowing? And we can apply that in our personal lives, relationships, friendships, places of employment, where we live, all of these things. When we're faced with change, fear is a natural component. It rears its head. And again, remember, fear is your friend. Fear, everything is energy. Fear is energy. So it's either a catalyst to move you, push you, move you forward, or it immobilizes you. It holds you where you are. And that choice is up to you. You just have to push through. It may be difficult in the beginning, but you push through, you persevere. 22 is about grace and adorning. And I'm going to read to you from the hexagram 22. But it's also about accepting. It's about seeing these things, knowing. Again, when we hear our soul source connection, when we hear our intuition, our knowing, it is about accepting that and adorning from the inside out. Because it doesn't matter how many labels and status symbols and, accoutrements and things that we accumulate, we adorn ourselves with. It's really about the grace inside, internal grace, internal acceptance that moves us forward. You'll see how 23, and there's something about this 22, 23. Thursday is when Pluto enters Aquarius for the first time since 1777. So this splitting apart from the past so as to renew, regenerate. And so you'll see how this shift, and I'm sure you all are feeling it. There's a lot of push-pull energy out there. There's a lot of 1 minute you're soaring and happy and thrilled, and the next minute you might be plummeting and nervous and have anxiety. There's a lot of push-pull energies happening right now. 7, the 2023 is a 7-year, and remember the 7-year is about, it's the foundation of God's word. It's the divine fulfillment, divine perfection, divine completion of things. I'm just bringing this up because it's a 7-year all year long. So as we walk this 7-year together, this is foundational. It's bringing about that which is promised. And you're going to see how that promise, foundation of God's word, the divine fulfillment, completion, perfection of things, and how that has to do with the word legacy. I'm going to bring that up in a minute. But going back to, so it's 7, army, legions, correct discipline. It's to remember we have everything we need. It's all within us. We need only open ourselves to the magic. We need only see it and then utilize it with correct discipline. It doesn't mean running roughshod over people and things. It means going as guided, do no harm, know that what's yours is yours. There's no competition. It's the beauty of collaboration, working collectively for a unified outcome, a unified sense of being. So, from our individual selves, remember that harmony, divine masculine, divine feminine, the balance, the harmony of it. And the way we get there is with correct discipline. Too little, too much. It's like it's the pot and the fire, right? If the fire's too hot, the water evaporates. It boils over, it can evaporate, or it boils over and puts out the fire. Too little, it takes forever to actually come to a boil, to actually be able to do anything with it. So be mindful of these. And then the overall energies, the 322 2023 becomes a 5. Ultimately, it becomes a 5. And it says, nourished while waiting, patience. And remember, there's that beautiful quote. It's on DearJames.com on the Facebook page and everything. Patience is a powerful force, waiting an essential skill. And so it's this power in the patience, and yet we're at the arrival moment. It's like we don't have to wait anymore. So we've been nourished while waiting for this moment. We've been provided for. We've been patient, and now here it comes. And so these are the energies. We're going to be working with hexagram 22, grace adorning, how to accept, and also 23, which is that splitting apart to regenerate. And yet here's our main theme. I'm bringing it up on the screen because this is what they said to me right off the bat. Blast off, accelerated. And it's like a rocket. And you're going to see a theme in today's show and going forward. All of this orange, that kind of golden yellow and then orange. But it's blast off, accelerated. And here's an image of a rocket against a blue background, blue sky background. It's an animated looking. And they gave me the word accelerated. And I'm like, okay, accelerated what? And it was as if no matter what word I tried to place after, like accelerated learning, accelerated moment, accelerated time, I kept getting no, 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 no. Remove any and all limitations, obstacles, illusions, limiting factors. So moment, time, learning, any secondary word, following word. And they just said accelerated, dot, dot, dot. Accelerated means to progress, advance more rapidly than usual. And then I heard intense, rapid transformation and advancement. So what we've got here is blast off, and it's accelerated. Across the board, there are no limitations on how this is going to affect us. This to progress and advance more rapidly than usual. So keep that in mind as the main theme, that no matter what you're doing, what you're looking at, what you're experiencing, it's going to happen in an accelerated manner. I don't like to I'm trying to not use a secondary word because they basically said don't put any limitation on how this blast off, this accelerated is going to apply. It's carte blanche. It's an umbrella statement. Let me just go in and Olivia said, do you know why Mary Magdalene was the sister Mary of Lazarus? Almost no one, even Bible scholars, miss that, but it's in James. I found it. I would love for you to share that, Olivia, in the comments and everything. There's been much about how, and I just read articles leading up into today's show about how Mary Magdalene was really conflated many, many times because, again, there was a concerted effort to minimize her presence, her impact, her empowerment, her position, her place. And there's many, and they conflated her with many of the Marys so as to minimize, reduce her impact, her presence, the truth. And remember, the truth shall set you free. And that applies to everything in our life. Well, this is going to apply greatly because, again, for the church after millennia to finally, for the Pope, and I forget whether it was John Paul or which Pope acknowledged, I read it and it's not coming to me in the moment. The point is, though, there is a recognition by the Pope, by the Catholic Church after millennia, to recognize Mary Magdalene as the apostle to the apostles, like the apostle. Well, here she is, Ladyface Mountain. And remember, I've been guided here. And so I'm right here, and she arrives. Her arrival is now. And with this blast off accelerated energy. And so again, be mindful. Everyone, please, 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 men, women, leaders, business leaders, government, government leaders, harness the power for good, not to keep people down and enslaved and managed and micromanaged and oppressed and suppressed. That ship has sailed. And it's a very interesting thing because number 4, they said Mary Magdalene, quote, takes the lead, the helm. And the helm is also known as a wheel on a ship, to steer the rudder on a ship. It's a wheel to navigate. And that was associated with Jason and the Argonauts in terms of the Argos and the ship. But she's taking the helm. She's taking the lead. She's steering us to our destiny, our deliverance, to our legacy, to our inheritance. She is at the forefront of this deliverance, of this change. And so be mindful. Do not cleave to the past. And also, do not swing the pendulum so far to the other side that you minimize or harm what was. It's always to look and say, Namaste, I bow to the divine in you. I thank you for the role you played. Person, place, time, epic, this great period of time, this moment, this energy. It was there. Everything's purposeful. It happened for a reason. We collectively and individually needed that. And so as we move into a more harmonious, harmonic state, it's not for the oppressed to become the oppressor. It's not to malign the divine masculine. It's not to hold up higher than the divine feminine overall, because that's what we just came from in the reverse. That is not the Aquarian age. That is not matriarchal rule. Aquarian matriarchal rule: harmony, balance, nourishment, goodness, equilibrium. We just had the equinox. Equinox means equal night, equal day and night. It's the longest night and day of the year. Just happened on Monday. Harmony, balance, equality, equalness. That's the name of the game. That's what we are moving to, because in that, when we are that, when we experience that, everybody wins. Everyone has a place at the table. Everyone is seen. Everyone is able to remember. Let's see if I can do this without my glasses on. Here we are. It's time to shine, step by step, putting it together. It's time for everyone to shine. However, in our moment, in our ongoing movement of shining, it doesn't mean to outshine or shine at the expense of another. It means it's time to shine. Everyone radiate their light, their being, and allow it, see it in others, encourage it. Because again, nothing that's yours will be taken from you. If it's meant to be yours, it's yours. Period, end of story. You don't have to compete. I believe it was Colleen. I hope I'm not sharing out of turn, Colleen. The beauty of uh, uh, not getting a deal. And we shared with each other, it's in the private group, that, there's this moment of recognition, of realizing that sometimes when we don't get something, it's protection, not rejection. It's keeping us from, you know, in other words, getting the wrong deal can be really bad for us. And so when we don't get something, it wasn't meant for us because it wasn't truly aligned with us. The one that is, the person, the place, the event, the accolade, the whatever it may be, it will, because it's already yours. It's already destined and a part of your divine fabric, your tapestry. And thereby it's in the recognition of realizing, oh, that's not for me, this is. Oh, okay, I can see. And then in hindsight, we typically get that, oh, wow, if I'd gotten that or I'd gone that way, look what would have happened. And so there they are upstairs 24/7 working overtime, the unseen, our incredible, spirit source symphony, angels, the whole shebang. They're up there working feverishly and fervently for us, with us. So connect and listen. Um, Olivia said, being an empath, I hardly slept last night because waking up in fear, picking it up from the world probably. I'll tell you, I was sitting down in the lobby, and so this is a good thing, Olivia, that you're bringing up. There's a lot of it right now because people, this is that push-pull energy that's going on, and I don't know if you all are feeling it. Olivia is, I am. I was literally sitting down in the lobby trying to do some work, and I kept getting these, like, out of nowhere, just this kind of like weird panic, fear, like an overwhelm. And I was like, whew, this is not fun. And for no reason. I mean, seemingly no reason. And then I was having a conversation with a dear friend. And this thing about how people are reacting, lashing out. And they're doing so because they can feel this shift. They can feel this energy. It's intense. Remember, intense, rapid transformation and advancement. So it's destabilizing everyone. World markets, banks, the governments, the feds, and the monetary people around the world trying to shore up banking institutions and people doing a run on the banks. These types of things. You've got people's behavior coming to a crescendo of where you may be held accountable for it, and you can believe that, not believe. I'm just stating what's happening in the world. A war going on where somebody wants an old way, an old dynamic, power by aggression, respect by aggression versus civility versus unity, coming to the table. What is in the best of us? Where might we collaborate from a very positive state, place, force? So we can see it. It's this energy and it brings up a lot of fear, and that fear manifests in shadowy ways, not the shadow element ways. However, what they're saying to me in the moment too is, and it's being brought up so that it gets released, so that it gets put out. So again, be proactive, not reactive when you see it, or if someone's interacting with you in that way. Real deep, deep, deep breath. Hum, sing, dance, take a walk, do anything you can to not be reactive, to be proactive. Proactive, to respond, not react. So that everything brings you are able to effectuate an equilibrium, a calm. Because otherwise we're just reacting, and it's one rocket, one blast off, bringing that up, accelerated this. And these are meant to be positive. However, it can be that it's just rapid fire um, shadow, because we're purging and cleansing it. We're getting it, we're cleaning it. We're cleaning house. And it's inside out. It's going to clean everything out and calm it down. Brigitte is saying, I woke up yesterday with huge, pardon me, ascension. You can see I'm barely talking. Ascension symptoms. Like, slow down, dear James, slow down. The days before I could feel the energetic shifts, and then bam, hit like a hot fire. Exactly. It's intense. There's no other way. It's rapid, it's intense, it's transformational, and it is advancement. It is advancing us. And let me just do this. I'm going to bring up this image because it's so beautiful. Here is our mantra, our word, advance. So as you go about your day, days, moments, any fears, any anxieties, and everything, just keep saying to you and see this really yummy image. It's very ethereal. It looks like it's moving towards something in the center, like this beautiful, like you're walking through a vortex, a portal, a dream, an imaginary state. And then you have this most empowering word, advance. Advance out of this moment. Advance out of this discomfort, anxiety, anger. Advance. Move through it. Advance beyond any self imposed masks, limitations, beliefs, stories, scripts. Advance. Move beyond them. Move through them. It's rich. It's the Lady Jacqueline. It's juicy. And this image, I'm going to post this in the thread below after the show because it's just, and again, download it, utilize it, keep imagining an image, placing this image, I'll say it that way, in front of you so that anything, any roadblocks, any obstructions, because you're going to see about the legacy, how this roadblocks, obstructions, delays, anything like this, detours, all this stuff, advance. And look how yummy it is. Look at this image. It's just like, oh, it just makes you want to get to the other side of whatever you're experiencing. Get to the other side, get through it, and advance to the other side of it. So, with all of this, the first thing they said to me was they gave me Neil Armstrong. So, this is in relation to this advance, the arrival, Mary Magdalene, Lady Face Mountain, the sleeping maiden, and this arrival of her. She's awakened. She's right on time. Here she is. This Pluto moving into Aquarius tomorrow. Monday was the equinox. Tuesday began the first degree of Aries. So it closed out the previous astrological year and commenced the new one. We are in the second day of the new astrological year. All of these big energies happening. Remember, Saturn, for the first time in 30-ish years, is now in Pisces. So we can look back from 93 to 97, see what was going on. And then remember, it's going to be that, quote unquote, on steroids, meaning, and it's so what was purposeful and personal and unknown, these shifts. And a lot of women, it's very interesting, a lot of friends and colleagues and so forth. Oh, that's when I had my child, my son, my daughter. Women, a lot of women were having children at that moment. Well, that's an unknown. Yes, you're having a baby, that's known. But what that whole trajectory, what that whole experience will be for both of you, for all of you, is unknown. So now it's about how what's happening is how these experiences are now being raised up an octave. They're being amplified in the way that they're now more for the public good, for the public awareness, good, transformation, transition. You're going to see how they play out from what happened in 1993, 97 in your life to now, and how you've advanced, how you've moved up an octave, and what you may be doing is similar but amplified and more for the collective versus for the personal. You'll receive personal, but it's for the collective. All of this happening. So, and so, yes, Brigitte, these ascension symptoms, the current energies, this advancing, And they gave me this Neil Armstrong quote: one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It's that energy back then, with coinciding with, so now Saturn in Pluto, Saturn in Pisces, Pluto moving into Aquarius. It's like that, but on steroids. Blast off, accelerated, public, for the public good, for the collective good. And this one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, humankind. Because Pluto in Aquarius, French Revolution, American Revolution, founding of America, this ideal, this promise of a better life, a better way, something better that was built on the past, came from our past, but it's an ideal, a promise. And remember, they've been saying to us, the ideal becomes the new reality. Here we've been going along, working for it, working for it, working for it, trying to get to it. And then all of a sudden, it's just the ideal of it is the new reality. It becomes the new reality. Period. End of story. The old order, the old way, the old order of things is gone. It goes away. So, and you can see how this, I mean, look at how, again, that seismic shift just with the church from repentant prostitute, demons being exorcised out of her, conflated, diminished with other Marys, and, the whole story being kind of minimized to apostle of the apostles. That's a quantum leap. That's a giant leap. Well, that's what this moment, this arrival of this moment is. It's going to be that on steroids. It's going to go boom, and we're going to jump. The next one, which I thought was just really, this was so, because it coincides with arrival, the sickle, and I love this. Pardon me. I love this image for all of you. I'm going to bring it up. They said dreamsicle, and literally, I don't know about all of you, but it was one of my favorite treats, ice creams. That's the analogy they're using, this dreamsicle, this vanilla ice cream or ice milk coated with orange sherbet on a stick, a dreamsicle. Now, I don't know about all of you. It puts a smile on my face. It brings joy to my soul. It just kind of makes me beam. And what they were saying is this color orange, this theme of orange. Orange is highly associated with Mary Magdalene. The whole orange blossoms, very major connection with Israel. It's also with France, the south of France, this orange, dreamsicle. And they said arrival. The time is right, hyphen, ripe, reap, dot, 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 the fruits of your labor. And then Virgo, Virgin, Great Mother. So here this is, and it's number 3. It's about the Trinity. It's that rotary engine of the Mazda vehicle where everything aligns, everything comes into harmony and balance. And all of the goodness, all of that which is good in us, they're saying to us, and I'm saying to each of you, reap the fruits of your labor. Be the very best dreamsicle. Dream and dream big. They've been giving us these themes. Where this just invokes, like joy and happiness and fond memories and fun and all of these good elements, reap. Because remember, they said last week, reaping what you sow, Ace of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles. To reap is to gather a crop. To sow is to plant seeds. It's about aces, new beginnings, prosperity, enormous plenty, opportunity. It is to look inside. This is what they're wanting us to do. Look inside in this moment, dreamsicles, and harvest. Come into that state of joy, happiness, purity, goodness. Joy is the word that just keeps it, because it just vibrates. Joy. And in that, reap the fruits of your labor. Find the very best in yourself and gather that crop. And use that energy, use that force to sow, to plant new seeds. Because the old order, the old way, the shadow elements, all of these things will fall away. It's like the wheat and the chaff and everything. It naturally falls off. Husk of corn, you peel back the husk to keep the gold, the corn. That's what they're talking about here. And the image that they're giving us is dreamsicle. And remember, the sickle is this wonderful, this is how they would, and still in places around the world, still use this tool, this farm tool, to harvest, to gather the crop. Well, this is that same thing. They're using this dream sickle. It's like, use the sickle, scalpel, sickle, to, sorry, I'm going to pull it up here, to correct discipline, to renew, regenerate, to accept, to persevere, to harvest that which you want, the best of you. It's the best in us. Remember, there's another post. There's grace, gratitude, and humility, the very best in us. This is what they're speaking to. They're speaking to this dream sickle. Dream big, and then use the sickle to harvest, to reap, and then replenish, regenerate, renew. And it's all going to come together, and it's going to be accelerated. We're moving into, it's an accelerated, I wish I could give you a secondary word, but they keep telling me not to. So I'm like, it's accelerated. Then Olivia, she said, actually, it is St. John chapter 11, verse 2. It says this exactly in King James Version. It was that and the word that is italicized. Mary, which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. The parentheses are there. I copied it exactly. So you can see she's talking, there's this whole piece of where, again, and then she was ridiculed, questioned, ridiculed, why the spikenard, this ointment, was utilized on Master Jesus's feet, because it would have fetched X amount of dollars on the market and so forth in Jerusalem and the market and everything. And it was like, is there no greater use? Is there no greater? So again, there's a lot here where we're going to the chaff from the wheat, the husk from the corn, this sickle, this reaping, to the truth, the truth, the truth. The truth shall set you free. It's going to come out. And it's okay. Let it come out, because it will unburden you, unlayer you. It'll be the masks falling away. It'll be the identities, the masks, the stories, the scripts, the ego, the mind, the personality. Because it's not necessary. It's not needed anymore. What the new requires, mandates, is simple purity, truth, purity. The truth speaks for itself. That beautiful quote, the truth becomes a part of your past, a lie, your future. Because you have to keep repeating the lie. You have to keep remembering the lie. So it keeps going forward. Well, those days are over. That's gone. So don't fear it. Don't fear letting go of the old energies, identities, labels, ways of being, ways of thinking. Let them go. Drop them like a hot potato. What was it Brigitte saying? It came in hot. Yeah, like a hot fire. Because again, it's to know that, and this is, you're going to see how this hot and fire and so forth plays into hexagram 22. So let me move through to this piece about, and really quickly before we do this, the fifth thing. So 4 and 5, this Mary Magdalene takes the lead, the helm. and number 5. And it was the Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto who planned the attack on Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. Pearl. Wisdom. Pearl. Said, it's a quote, and it's a very famous one we probably all know. I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant. That's the point of why they brought it to my attention. Remember, sleeping maiden. The arrival, not the awakening, not the opening, the arrival of the lady face, Mary Magdalene, the sleeping maiden. And he's saying, I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant. Now, this is said in fear because it continues and says, and fill him with a terrible resolve. What they're saying to us today in this moment is we need not fear awakening this sleeping giant, this sleeping maiden. She does not come to harm. She does not come for revenge or retribution. Whew. She comes with love, for love. She comes to renew, to restore. She comes to give you what's rightfully yours. And what may have been oppressed, suppressed, held back, taken, diminished, but she restores with love. And there's a beauty in receiving that. There is a beauty in that being our example as to how we move forward with grace, with love, with fortitude, with kindness, with goodness, knowing that she's at the helm. That is what she is leading with. Um, that really whopped me. And here's why. And this is a beautiful piece of, before we get to hexagram 22. I want to bring this image up. I will get to it if I can find it. It has to do with the 3 covers of the newspapers. And as you all know, I showed them last week in the show. And it was about, here they are. On the top left, it was the Malibu Times, the day as I arrived. It was from that week. And it was an image of double rainbows. And it said, clear skies cover the canyons after the rainstorms. And what I heard, again, with this, the lady face and Mary Magdalene, and it was like, the way, when I arrived here at this location, the way is open, clear, unobstructed. And you're right at the threshold of this arrival, this acceleration. And so it comes with this, and it comes with that whole piece of going as guided, soul source connection, listening to your intuition. Right place, right time, right everything. And it represents your soul source connection. Remember, it represents the rainbow, a doubling down, a double rainbow, this covenant that God made with humankind. Here is my promise to you. Here is my covenant, my promise. There it is. Now, had I not listened and I came a week later, I would not have arrived with the image of the double rainbows on the cover. I would have arrived with the one in the center bottom. You see the police cars, You see boulders and a mudslide, and it's all about roadblocks, obstructions, delays. It has to do with fear. It has to do with ego, mind, personality. Because the ego, mind, personality, fear, would have kept me where I was because I didn't know what's coming. So if I had delayed, it would have been out of fear, fear of the unknown. And that fear, which comes from the ego, the mind, personality, would have created roadblocks, obstructions, delays. Well, the third paper, and at some point I'm leaving here, I'm not sure where I'm going. The moral of the story is the third cover was about locals rally behind Legacy Park as potential permanent home for Malibu farmers market. Dreamsicle, the sickle, the reaping, the association to farmers, agriculture, a way of nourishment, a way of living, and a permanent home for the farmers market in Legacy Park. It's the outcome. So no matter how you get there, one would like that you just go straight across. Right place, right time, right everything. Soul source connection delivers you directly across, laterally, directly across to the outcome. This legacy, this permanent home, this and something ancestral. And that people, the community, remember, because this new is about the collective and how we bring things for the collective, for the good of the collective, and how it becomes something permanent within us that we take on. And there's a beauty in, I want to bring up, I'm going to leave this image up for a little bit here. While I bring up, I just want to read to you about legacy, because it really hit me that it said, in law, a legacy is something that someone gets by inheritance or by a will. In historical terms, a legacy is something that is handed down from another period of time. So from one period of time to another. It often means something handed down from an ancestor or predecessor. Well, we often think that a legacy is what we're creating or we are leaving. What's my legacy? What am I leaving others? We forget that we forget about the double rainbows. We forget that Mary Magdalene, Master Jesus, Mother Mary, these iconic ancestors, God, Spirit Source Symphony, the rainbow, that is our inheritance. There's an inheritance here. There is something that they said 2,000 plus years ago that they lived, they acted out, that is our inheritance. It is our legacy. We receive it. And we chose to be here at this moment in time to receive that inheritance, that legacy. So it's not just something that we create, that we leave behind, but it's also something that we receive. And that is a very, very, very powerful thing to recognize and realize, is that because they really are saying to us, go as guided, use your soul source connection, right place, right time, right everything. Utilize that to both leave, create and leave, and also receive your inheritance, your legacy. Because and you can see how what we leave is based on how we live our lives, our character, the depth of our being, our soul. That is something we leave. It doesn't have to be a name on a building or an institution or something to be a legacy. A legacy is, what is the essence of your life, of what you are, of what you've co-created. How are you remembered? That's what you leave behind. That's your legacy. First and foremost, that's indelible. A name on a building, coins in a bank account, all these other things, property, all that other stuff. Yeah, that's wonderful. Those are tangible monetary assets, if you will, a legacy. That's all well and good. However, what you'll really be remembered for is who you are, how you've how you've lived, how you've treated others, what you've done with your life. And that is also based on the inheritance, the legacy and the inheritance that we receive. So it's here, it's prominent, it's literal, it's practical, um, and it's really this whole. Um, it is these three images: faith or fear, and the outcome, and and the beauty of something that becomes permanent. And think about that change within us, that legacy, that shift becomes permanent. It's the outcome. It's ancestral. It's what came before us. It's what we leave behind us. We need not drop down into fear. We don't need to do that. And the fastest way is when you're experiencing it, move through, go back to this mantra, advance, 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 move through as quickly as possible. Because again, we've got a new burst of inspiration. We're going to bring it to life. It's green, the beauty of abundance, the power of source. It's abundant, it's rich, it's a promise, it's an inheritance. It is it is accelerated. There's no limitation on it. And look at how this image, in a sense, matches the outside image of these verdant green. I mean, California has gone from drought to drenched and replenished and nourished. And yes, as that occurs, there are things of the old that wipes away, takes things out. And I just want to go to the fact that in hexagram 22, and I'm just going to run to that very quickly and get it in underneath the hour or very close to. Hexagram 22 is about grace and adorning. Its hidden influence is 40, liberation, to untangle. Its underlining cause is oppression, exhaustion, oppressed, suppressed, maligned, held down, held back, and that we adapt. Because it's that so that we adapt to a new. And it talks about in here um, the greatest lesson by grace teaches you is that no amount of outward adorning will ever conceal what is going on inside of you. When you want to attract others to you, begin within. Loving the self makes one loving. Accepting the way makes one accepting. Accepting the way. Soul source connection, what your soul is guiding you to do, not what the fear of ego mind personality is guiding you to do. It's about accepting love, accepting the way. When you have no preconceived expectations, you will open to the beauty of grace. Remember, they said, the way opens, appears magically. Might you walk the path of destiny? So here it is. It's open. And brilliant inner beauty is like a magnet that others can't resist. When circumstances are less than favorable, turn within and release the expectations that are making your outlook hardened. Fear, anger, resentment, anything that's hardened, go within to release it, to advance. Take a breath and return to the moment. You have the opportunity for grace to shine down upon you where your wish is granted. Dreamsicles. Dream, harvest, advance, move beyond anything that's hardened. And there's a point here about fire at the foot of the mountain, the image of grace. Seasons can change gracefully or destructively. Either way, nature's behavior cannot be classified in terms of good and bad. We build homes in what was once a desert, irrigate our gardens during times of drought, and wonder why the trees in the hillside catch on fire. The seeds of higher elevation plants actually require fire for regeneration. Through wildfires, nature accomplishes new growth by removing old growth. Although you may place labels on and value on the experience, you sometimes cannot see how good fortune perches on apparent disaster. So remember, that's what this is really saying is in what may be perceived to be negative, bad, okay, and yet it's divine and neutral. Because in some way, the fire, the Holy Spirit, the fire on the mountain, the flood, whatever it will, it's clearing itself out. Nature does it organically. Humans have put their hand on the scale and helped and tipped the scales. However, we're also learning, put your hand, you do wrong enough, you do these things enough, and it's tipping the scales. That has an outcome. It has an effect. And so again, it's for us to be mindful. But at the bottom of the day, at the bottom of the day, at the bottom of all of this, at the end of the day, at the bottom of all of this, it's about the arrival of the sleeping maiden. And she takes the helm. She leads the way. It's one small step for man, one giant, huge leap for humankind, for mankind. It's going to come, it's accelerated, it's blast off. It is this rocket, like a rocket taking off with all of the extremes and the emotions and the whole shebang. And it's going to be intense, it's going to be rapid, it's going to be transformational, and it's going to be advancement. And through this, we will embrace that we have awakened this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sleeping giant. Because she is what she brings forth, what she carries, what she embodies, what she bestows is our legacy. It is our inheritance. And we all chose to be here. So how, I'm going to bring this up because we started the month with it. How lucky, luck of the Irish, how lucky we are. How lucky we are. So I love you all. I thank you so much for being here each and every week, for your comments, your shout outs, your likes, your shares, the whole shebang. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is an honor and truly an honor and a privilege. And I look forward to seeing what happens next, where we go next. So thank you all again. And I'll see you next week. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.